We're back, Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyke along with Al Losi, your 2011 Quick Trip NASCAR Late Model Track Champion of the Crosse Speedway. Jay Herbst joining us. And before the break, we were talking about winning a track championship and other teams having to step up their game. This is the third year in a row that Jay has almost won in just the three-peat. He's won 2 of the past 3 years. And you kind of wanted to talk a little about ramping up that game.
Well, I was just wanted to ask you, all the leaders now have to, when you're leading like that, you have a points championship that you have to think about like a chess match. It seemed to me like a lot of the drivers towards the end of the season were realizing that they couldn't be quite as aggressive towards the front towards the end of the race, because if they got sent to the back, they weren't going to get a top 10 finish like they would have the last few years. They were going to get stuck in 17th, 18th, or 19th, because it's not just the top 10 that has improved. Really, it's pretty much the top 20 or 22 that have improved. Everybody is picking it up. So did you think of that as the race was going on?
Yeah, on Thursday night at Oktoberfest, we were running second for a while after the first restart, and Steve was leading, and I didn't have the car for Steve. I didn't. We missed it, and when the 32 car got to me, I let him go. And the same thing with the 43 and the 8 car. They got to me, I let them go. There is no point in taking any unnecessary risks or anything and having to be either get hauled off on a hook or get sent to the back. I was sitting in 5th place. I could see Todd, and I just kept looking up at the leaderboard and watching the laps click down.
Jay Herbst also winning the Whelen All-American Series Wisconsin State Championship, which incorporated most every driver at the Crosse Speedway. I think Cedar Lake may have been thrown in there, and there might have been another track. What does it mean to take home a state championship? Because this happened a couple years ago that we had announced on the racetrack. Chuck Deering had told me unofficially that you had, and it was taken away by a driver that had got an extra feature added in that night, but now no one's taken that away from you. No, this one's done. It's deemed official, and we did win the state championship. I mean, to me, that's big. That's not only going against your weekly competitors that you have, but you're going against other tracks. Drivers and tracks, state. You have no clue where they're at.
Right.
Exactly. And towards the end, getting about the end of July and all through August, you know, my team statistician, who is my brother, he started watching feature finishes really, really close between Cedar Lake Speedway and us to see and to make sure that we were still in the running for it. And that last feature win that we had got sealed it for us versus anybody at La Crosse.
I think that's the first time somebody actually admitted they were watching the points.
No. His brother does. I've asked him every night at the racetrack, and he gives me that same crap liner. I don't watch the points. Herbst says it, Corey says it, Hap says it. We don't watch the points. They're just little numbers on a piece of paper. But it was good, though, because he said his brother did it.
I heard that.
No, and my brother does. He watches the points each week, and I don't get wrapped up in the hype.
Right.
And I will say,
but you can't, though, because if you get wrapped up in the hype of you and Todd Korish with 3 races ago, there's a points battle, that's going to mentally mess with you. And I think that's why these top drivers we have there step away from, let me do the points. Let me hype the crowd up with the points. You guys are just paying attention to going out there and finishing a race.
Yeah, and we're there to do a job, and we're there to do it to the best of our ability and our team's ability. And the points are going to take care of themselves.
Right.
I mean, and that's the big thing where I've matured as a driver is I'll take a 7th place and I won't burn my tires up, you know, in 4 laps to catch that guy that's 10 car lengths in front of me with 2 laps to go. There's no point. I have to race in these tires next week.
Right.
So you take a 6th, you take a 7th here, but in the end, those 6th and 7ths are a lot better than 13th and 18th and 15th place finishes.
I know you had a very steadfast crew that was down there this year. You had a couple of guys, Mark Lamoureux and Tony Lease, that helped you out, where that if you did need to use that backup car, it just wasn't sitting there collecting dust. Talk about your entire crew, this championship crew that you have.
Phenomenal. I mean, they put so much time and effort of their own free time at the shop during the week, and it's a long drive for Mark and Paul Lamoureux to come down, and Mark just enjoys driving at La Crosse, and he likes hopping in our cars and driving it, and I've become such good friends with Mark and his family and Paul that it's a treat to have him come down and run with us. But you know, my crew chief Lucas, my car chief Corey and Jason and Mark, and my father, my uncle and Jerry, it just, all those guys are so dedicated to what we're trying to do and achieve that I couldn't ask for a better crew.
Can you win again next year?
I don't know. I'll worry about that next year. As far as points go for next year, not going to worry about them, Dan.
See? Ask me in July next year.
Sure.
I'll ask him the same question on the track. I'm going to get the same exact response.
Go over and talk to his brother.
You know, I do want to mention also, there's some thank yous I do want to send out before I forget. I was even jotting some notes here. To Billy Doc Niles, who helped me out this year, a late model competitor of yours, missed the last, I think, 9 or 10 races because he had the bulging discs in his back. And I do want to say a good luck and speedy recovery. Bill Doc Niles did have surgery on, I think it was Wednesday of this week, to get those problems taken care of. He ended up coming up and helping me do some color in the booth when talking the late models and the 6x6 dashes. But I have to throw a jab his way because Doc was so lazy the last part of the season. I don't think he wanted to race. I think he wanted to be in the booth. That he and his wife went out and they found a chair that when you're sitting back, you hit a button. He goes, "It is so cool that you ain't got to move," and it just uprights you and stands you right up. How much more lazier can Niles be?
I'll bite my tongue.
Yeah, there you go.
I also want to thank the TV station. Did a lot of great coverage of Oktoberfest racing. Also, my AM 580 WKTY Race Report show we did live out at the racetrack.
Yes.
We had Brian Reffner, and we had Tom Reffner, we had Dick Trickle, we had Mr. Bach, whose father won the Oktoberfest 100 back in 1985. I want to thank all those folks for coming on. I do want to let you know that the season's not done. This Saturday, we've got the 300-foot National Street Drags going on at the Crosse Speedway. Gates open will open at 12:30. The big trophies come out for that one, and so do the big cars. Also this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, down at the Rockford Speedway, it's the Bahama Brackets. So if you've got nothing to do this weekend, catch the Street Drags on Saturday, head down for a lot of big-time racing coming up. Winners get cash, or a couple of trips to the Bahamas. You can't. You ever been to the Bahamas, Jay?
Yes.
Are you going to go down to the Bahama Brackets?
No.
Okay. Not even to watch?
No.
All right. Jay's going to be working in his motor.
No.
I don't blame
I have
him.
my kids this weekend, so I'm going to be spending time at the park.
I got to spend a lot of time with his daughter this past weekend, too. I think she got to recognize me. That's the microphone guy. That's the microphone guy. See, I had Daddy on the track quite a few times this year. I want to thank Jay Herbst for stopping by today. Again, congratulations on your second of 3 track championships in the past 3 years. Also on the Whalen All-American Series Wisconsin Championship. You deserve that one. I watched you guys in the pits every single weekend when I stopped down, and if they're working, I don't talk to them. I just keep on walking. And also all to our other track champions that raced this year. A couple of them are going to be coming up, or one of them is going to be coming up on the next program. And then we're going to recap the season with a big video highlight menagerie at the end of the season. For Jay Herbst, your track champion, and for Al Losi, I'm Dan Dyker. Our producer, Jesse, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back again next week on 7 Rivers Racing here on KQEG TV.